Hey, it is Justin back once again. I'm up in the Sierra Madre Canyon. There's the dam behind us. In fact, I would get closer, but it's so noisy. Can't pick up any sound. Anyway, I came up here to look at some of this fabulous architecture. This is one of the most adorable places in the world. And also to talk a little bit about how bizarre the housing market has become in the last, well, really it's the 21st century, but it's gotten more intense in the last few years. What I'm talking about, of course, is the ratio of home price to income, to average income, particularly in places like California, where you see numbers where it's exceeded 10 to 1, 10 years, more than 10 years income to one, relative to the price of one house. So you get these, I mean, who can afford that? The other big, I think, like elephant in the room, or disturbing thing is the all cash buyers, the phenomena of all cash buyers snapping up anything under $1 million, or anything reasonably priced, or that is in the space that the typical new home buyer, somebody starting a family, 2 beds, 2 baths, or 3 beds, 2 baths. These types of houses are getting snapped up from all cash buyers, and it's shutting out people who. Good morning. It's shutting out people who. This guy running with his child is really adorable. Shutting out all these people who just want to start a family and start a life and buy a house, and old-fashioned, old-school style. Get a job, buy a house, and people can't do it. So this has become this huge thing where there's a house. This one finally sold. Somebody got it. I think it's probably. And there's another one for sale by owner. By the way, if you're interested in buying or selling, talk to me. Especially if you want to sell, because I think now is the time. I don't recommend buying unless it's all cash. Anyway, people, the bottom half can't buy a house, and that's a new thing in the United States. It's incredible to think, in 1970, house prices were roughly, they were as low as 2 years' income of the average person in the United States. It's incredible to think that was such a time when you could buy a house for 2 years' income for the average person. And now it's gotten, and especially in California, it's gotten way far from that. It's funny. Nobody knows what to do. Politicians don't know what to do. People shrug their shoulders. People want to invest in houses, and it seems like, well, is it such a great investment if it's more than anybody can afford? What good is a house if nobody can afford it? Well, obviously somebody can afford them because people are buying them, but it doesn't seem sustainable. I talk to people all the time. People who don't have the high, they're not an attorney, they're not a doctor, their income is not that high, but they're educated and they work hard and they've built a career for themselves, but they can't buy a house. And it's very, disturbing and disappointing. So, let's show you some more of these houses. Hey, good morning. And so, this is an adorable one behind me. And so it seems that there should be a correction in the market so that housing prices come down to what people can afford, because it's supposed to be a free market where prices don't go astronomically high, because if they do, nobody will buy them. Well, what's strange is that they are astronomically high relative to where they were 50 years ago, yet they're being bought up, they're being snapped up. So So, everybody's shrugging their shoulders. And what's interesting to me is nobody seems to know who these all cash buyers are. I mean, we all have ideas. We all assume it's the investment community, people buying houses as investments, people buying houses to rent them, and hoping they'll increase in value and they can resell them or just keep them as rentals. And those houses are anything from people buying one extra house who can afford it. They say, "Oh, I have a little extra money. I'll buy one house for a rental," or they buy two or three, or you have these huge investment. These companies who buy tens of thousands of houses as hedge funds or whatever they are, and so this seems to be causing a situation where people good morning, people just can't get into the market. So it's super disappointing that you have buyers who can't buy a house, and if they find something they like, it gets snapped up by an all cash buyer. These people are trying to start families, they're trying to start lives, they're trying to be like their parents and grandparents, and they can't do it. So I'd really like to get your feedback on what you think. Where you think this is all headed, right? I mean, think about I would challenge anybody to ask their parents what the house cost for them, what their income was relative to the price of their house. What was their mortgage payment? What was the interest rate on that? What were those? Because I think you'll be shocked. And if you can find out what your grandparents paid as well, it would be really interesting and instructive, give you an idea of why, of where we're at now. It's sad to think that things have gotten more difficult, but clearly they have, as far as being able to purchase a home. So I think that's enough for me. I'm down in the canyon here, Mary's Market. I'm in Sierra Madre, California, trying to show you some of these beautiful, interesting houses. And I hope you've enjoyed, but I'd like to get your feedback on, and I'd love to know, I'd love to get feedback from people to say, what did your parents pay? What was buying house purchase like for them, presuming they did buy a house, and your grandparents? My father paid less than, it was less than 2.5 years income. In fact, I think it was about 2 years income. He bought a house in the early 60s. Anyway, that's his story. I have to find out what my grandparents paid. All right, thanks for watching, and see you next time. It's Justin, the Renegade Realtor from Coast West. Bye-bye.